If your child is struggling with reading and you've tried other things, tutoring, extra practice, having conferences with your teacher, and you're still having the same problem, or you're just seeing minimal progress, we have a solution for you, and we understand what you're going through. My name is Bryan Orton, and I've been a teacher for over 30 years. And this is Janell Warkentin.
Hello.
And she has been a learning specialist for over 15 years.
It is such a privilege to be here and just take this moment to speak to what you're seeing. I know through the work that I've done, and Bryan has seen this through the work that you've done, that he's done, that you're watching your child struggle. And you have read about, you've done your research, you've talked to, the school, and you've talked to other professionals, and you're like, what can I do to help this child read? And it's painful. They're bright. You can see it. Your gut knows that they are capable. So why are they not successful in reading? What's missing? And there must be something missing, because you're doing the work, the child is doing the work, but something's happening when you're sitting at that kitchen table and you're going over homework again, and the tears start, or the resistance and avoidance starts, and you're frustrated and you're mad at them, and then they're mad at you. You're like, this can't carry on.
No, and it doesn't have to carry on, but that is the reality for so many people, unfortunately. And one of the things that we know is that the way the majority of people learn to read, that works for them. So if someone has picked up reading and they're doing it and it's working for them, phonics and drill and practice, that's literally worked for them, and good. We're happy about that. But there's also another segment of the population, which is larger than most people realize, at least 25%, where that system simply doesn't work for them. And so it's like trying to take a square peg and shove it in a round hole. You can try to trim the edges, you can do it more, but it just doesn't fit and it doesn't work. And so we're not bashing the other systems. We're just saying that for a certain large population, what we do works for them, and it's ideal. It's that square hole, and then you put the square peg in and it fits, and it's just like, wow. People think it's almost like magic that they can make the rapid improvements that they can in 5 days.
Well, here's the key, is you look at the person as an individual. Instead of saying this is how it must happen, this is how reading must happen. And like you said, well, for 70% of the people, it does happen that way. Let's look at it linearly. Let's look at it piece by piece. Let's look at it phonetically, phonemic. Let's build the building blocks. Let's study the rules of language. And then you read. Well, if that hasn't worked, then I often wonder, what form of crazy is it to think it's going to work if we just do it slower and more often? So I want to take a couple steps back from that and say, okay, that didn't work. Then that's a clue to us. That guides us that, okay, that's a great approach, but that's not their approach. We can have a conversation with the child, and through an assessment, we can see, okay, this is what your mind, what your brain wants to do. This is the sequence it follows that causes learning to happen, because reading is just a learning thing, right? You learn to read. So if we figure out how your child learns, then we can take a look at reading and go, okay, let's put language together for them that way. Instead of being so committed to a box that's already been tried. And then we look at the child and go, what's wrong with you? Okay. And so let's look at the child as an individual and say, you're bright. I know, and Bryan knows, every child that we have worked with, and collectively, we're our 45, 50 years of teaching experience, working with individuals, and we've seen what works and we've seen what doesn't work. So it's like, okay, That's valuable. Let's take what doesn't work and let's put it away. Now, what does work is look at you as an individual and now put language or math or writing back together again the way the child wants to look at it, the way their brain is designed to look at it. And it's not the same thing that's been tried before, just slower and more practice at it. If that would have worked, it would have worked already. So individual, piece by piece, totally a different look at language, writing, math. That is what makes reading happen in a week. That's what takes you. You're in the 4th grade and you've been struggling for 4 years to read, still missing sight words, still, losing words, guessing at words, still getting to the end of a sentence and not being able to comprehend what was just read, struggling to get your thoughts out of your mind and onto paper if it's a writing piece, etc. Taking and going from, like, if you're in 4th grade, maybe you're at a 2nd grade level, 1st grade level reading, and being at grade level in a week. That's my and your normal experience. And the reason why is because we're not trying to shove a square peg into a round hole. And we think that everybody is individual and should be worked with as an individual, so that when they leave us, they know how they learn, they know how to repeat that and carry it on into school, because we're not changing the school right at this point. So we are simply giving tools and understanding how I learn so that I can apply it to anything, and then teach the team. How do I support that?
Yeah, and I can say I've seen this on both sides here, as a teacher and as someone who struggled to read. And if you would have asked me when I was younger, were you going to be a teacher? Were you going to be successful? I would have said, heck no. No way impossible. Was that going to be my reality? Because I literally thought I was stupid. Mm-hmm. I thought there's something wrong with me. I remember when I'd take spelling tests or I'd have reading assignments, and I just struggled terribly. And if I had homework and it was reading, oh good golly, I knew there was going to be a fight that night. Not a physical fight, but an argument where, Bryan, you need to get your reading done and all that. And so I really do have empathy for the students who are struggling. And I wish that I would have known this when I was younger, because I was in special classes. When I was in the 9th grade, I was at a 2nd or 3rd grade reading level. And so to be able to be where I am to now, and Janell's had the same kind of experience where she struggled with reading too. We really do get it. We really get it from the adult perspective, from the child perspective. And I just feel like it's just unnecessary suffering to keep doing something that doesn't work. Because I remember teachers and other people, and I know they had good intentions, but they would just say, Bryan, you just need to work harder. You just need to focus more. You need to put more effort into this. And I tell you, I would do everything I could and I would still goof up. And so we don't want that for your kid.
In a space where the parent, you, get answers, because I know you want them to. I know in your heart it hurts. It hurts to see the struggle. It's confusing. It's frustrating. You're looking at a really bright individual and wondering, okay, you're so capable in all these other areas, yet you're avoiding this. We're fighting because you're doing everything but your homework. And I can see the struggle. I can see and feel the pain in the child. And that breaks your heart. I know it does. And so having answers and being given steps that you know and your child knows works for them. So the conflict is gone and you feel like, okay, now the relief, we're getting help. This works. So really the step-by-step process is reach out to us. Reach out and have a phone chat with Bryan so that you can just hear more about, well, how can this help you? Let's hear your story. We would love to hear your story and see how we could help you.
If it's a good fit.
Yeah, if it's a good fit. Because if we can help you, then we can spell it out. Here it is. This will be what it can look like. Will be the process, the time commitment, etc. So that you have for certain a clear picture of the steps that it will take to get where you want to go. And that where you want to go is your child reading, writing, doing math, whatever your story is, successfully, easily being, and them liking and enjoying to learn. Because right now, I bet they don't. I bet there's areas they like, and if it comes down to like if it's the challenges reading, anything to do with reading, and then once we get past third grade, fourth grade, reading becomes more and more crucial. Everything, math is reading.
Yeah, because up to that grade, third or fourth grade, you're learning to read, but after that, you're reading to learn.
Yeah.
So if you struggle with reading, all that's going to happen is going to compound the problem. It's going to get worse. It's going to exacerbate it. And there's lots of studies, unfortunately, that you're more likely to drop out of high school. You're more likely to have lower income in adulthood. This isn't something that just affects you in school. I mean, this affects you beyond, affects your confidence.
Yeah, it sure can. It sure can. And with the right tools or the right approach, and right just simply means we hear your story. We hear you. We want to hear you. And so many of the parents that have come in have felt and have shared with us that you went in and you shared your story with a professional, whomever that was, a teacher or somebody, and they said, well, this is what it is. This is, but did they hear you? So many of you and so many of the parents that have talked to me said they didn't hear me, but we want to hear you because you know your child. Then we want to hear the child. We want to hear the child's voice, hear what it's like for them, because that matters when we start putting a program together. It's their goal. What do they want to see change and get easier? We hear them. We value their words. The programs are designed to create an atmosphere where we're focusing on what is the challenge, how does the individual learn, hearing you, and putting together a program that matches the team. So you've got the know-how, the child has the skill and the confidence, and at the end, you know how to carry on and apply it to, because school's still going to happen, right? You got 6 more years of school, 8 more years of school, whatever that is. How do I apply this to science? How do I apply this to learning a foreign language? How do I apply what I know now about myself to my future learning? Because it's not just about this year.
Right.
And that's important. That's important to you, and that's important to us. But because we know it doesn't have to take months or years to be successful at reading, we reach out to you and say, let's get this done. Let's start this. And really with a phone call, chat and connect and say, hey, this is what's going on. And we can share with you how we can help you. That's the beginning.
Yeah, so if this is interesting to you, if this is a problem that you have that you want to get a solution to, please contact us. You can call us at 480-630-4045, or you can email me at brian@bettersolution.me, and that Brian is spelled with a Y. So you don't have to suffer anymore. There is a solution. It is customized. It is personalized. It's not cookie cutter. And we really do take into account what is working for you, what isn't working. We do an assessment to see, does this fit for your child? And then we hit the ground running. And the thing I can't stress enough is that when you get the right system, the right customized system for your son or daughter, it just flies. And Janelle, you've done the analogy of the tennis shoes. I don't know if you want to share that, but just when it's right, it just works.
Yeah, when it's right, it just works. You put on the right pair of shoes. When you go shoe shopping, you try on all these different sizes of shoes, styles of shoes. But when you find that shoe that was meant for your foot, you know it. And you walk. I walk differently. When I'm bolder, I'm braver, I'm a little faster if I have a pair of shoes that fit my feet. So just getting that analogy and saying, let's get it down so that this fits your learner.
Yeah, and again, like if everyone is wearing a size 7 and your feet are bigger than that, trying to run, it's going to be all crunched in and tight, and if your feet are smaller than that, it's going to be flopping around. So it's not that the shoe is wrong, it's just it wasn't the right fit.
Okay, well, it was great. We look forward to meeting you. We look forward to hearing your story.
And you can reach out again. That's Bryan, Bryan, Bryan at bettersolution.me. Hear from you soon.